Good day, traders. Mindset Reset. It's Free Cash Thursday on the backside of a Good Friday holiday week. Congratulations, traders. A fantastic week for many of you in the community. We had very few select opportunities, but they were high quality. And some traders, as they mentioned, sat on their hands and they're quite happy to wait until next week. Their setup did not present the one that they were hunting, and I congratulate you because that is the name of the game. Learning to sit on your hands and identify when you have a 90-10 setup in your session and then executing that trade. And if you don't have it, not looking for trades, not trying to manufacture a trade or get a move. And I've been really hammering home, reinforcing the highest probability setups coming from levels, timing window, behavior of price for explosive vertical moves. Not worried about getting into something because it's going in a direction or trying to make sure we get the direction right. I'm talking about scalable opportunities because they're coiled and they're going to explode. Now, I got some excellent questions today, and I posted in the community chat to put specific setup related questions in there, and I will address them in the technical video. And I've already had a handful of excellent questions which are going to get answered. Hopefully we'll have that out first thing in the morning. But I want to congratulate a lot of traders that contribute. I value all the input into the community. I think we have a fantastic community that just continues to grow with a lot of great, amazing traders and people just adding value every single day. So again, I thank you and appreciate you all being here. Now, a great question today, which I'm going to talk about in the technical video, was do you look for the same setups regardless of the session or the 3-day setup or reversal setup, meaning that it's the pattern that I put up there that Stephen has allowed me to share. It's basically the same as the pump, coil, and dump, dump, coil, and pump, just fractally different ways of looking at that. Same setups. That's all I'm looking for. And so when you build your muscle memory on that, whether you're looking at a session trade, an excellent question today regarding gold. Why is it not an ACB template? I'm going to talk about that in the technical video. We're in a huge bull market. ACB templates are very specific. And again, I'm going to encourage traders to not get carried away with just because something closes in breakout to automatically assume it's ACB. Another question that I got today regarding the Aussie dollar. It's one of the pairs that I spoke about in the masterclass, saying specifically that the instruments that I listed as the primary candidates for the ACBs are ones that have historically shown that behavior in the past. The Aussie dollar is not one of those, and it is not an ACB template. Whenever something's ranging, it's not an ACB template. Those currency pairs are screaming to the highs of the month. I want you to think about markets when they're not allowing buyers to come in at the low of day or sellers to come in at the high of day levels in a downward moving market. It's going to take that market a few days to lock in the extreme. Remember what happens when we're at extremes of monthly lows or extremes of monthly highs. We will typically have a signal day. Now, we've gone over this. I'm going to go over it again in the technical video. But allow the market to set up and give you a signal. Don't just blindly try to counter trend something. Allow it to give you a signal. That's the first thing I want to emphasize in this component of the mindset reset. Number two, if you know exactly what you're hunting, it's the same setup over and over again, whether it's a session trade, whether it's a 3-day template, whether it's a 1-day reversal setup, or a 1-day trend trade. They are all the same templates. We saw the same thing on oil today that we saw on gold. It's the same setup, just fractally a little bit different and in a different template on the instrument on the day. Dump, coil, and pump, pump, coil, and dump. Same thing, same pattern that Stephen has shared with us, the same pattern that I posted. They're the same thing. So to answer that question, I am only looking for one pattern on an instrument that has given me a signal and demonstrated the behavior of price heading into the timing window. That's all it is. Same setups over and over and over again, and then determining on the day, is this a nail and bail? And a nail and bail, as we saw in gold, was what, a couple hundred pips. And understand the power of an ACB template when it's hold till close. There's a distinct difference, and we'll talk about that in the technical video. Most importantly, though, the understanding of just sitting on your hands and not looking for trades. In market conditions like this, where we've had a lot of volatility, we've had explosive moves when Trump speaks, when Powell speaks, we've had CPI, we're going to have major red news next week. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an unscheduled speech on the table next week after a holiday weekend. Go back and watch my video on 3-day US holiday weekends. Coming back the following week, we typically will see large moves. And we've seen some degree of consolidation into the close of the indexes. Don't be surprised if we see some large moves next week. Maybe, maybe not. But that aside, in the session that I'm trading, do I have a setup? It can move all over the place, but do I have an actual setup into the timing window? Now, I always talk about my friend Steven, because my friend Steven only trades reversals and not until 10 a.m. onwards. Now, let me tell you something about Steven. I don't think he'll mind me sharing it all. Steven will tell you this, and this is where a lot of traders get stuck on. He will tell you straight to your face, he is prepared to forego large range days if his setup criteria is not met. And that flies in the face of what a lot of people will do, because they always want to get into a market. They want to get into something when it's volatility's there and it's moving, and they throw the whole idea of a setup out the window. They're just, it's going down, I'm getting in. It's going up, I'm getting in. And they start chasing things. And lo and behold, all of a sudden the market starts chopping or consolidating or becoming volatile or less volatile. And that's the day that they get damage done, or they get chopped up a few times. And as a trader said today, but how do you know which candle to get in on? And I keep saying this. The setup is either there or it's not. Once it's there, it's largely based on the time of day. And then it's entry, stop loss, and a take profit level. I'm not looking at little bars. And there's only one bar that I'm really concerned about on one of the time frames, and it's a pin hammer. Always. Whether it's on a 5-minute, a 1-minute, a 15-minute, but the thesis is already playing out as I'm getting into the trade. So it's already confirmed the template. We're not getting in front of the market, in front of major red news. Trader today spoke about their thesis on natural gas. And I said, well, I can't touch it until 10:30 because we had storage inventories going to be released. And I won't even touch those markets until after inventories or storage for natural gas is released. I don't care what it does. And as my friend Steven says, I'm prepared to miss out on all that movement if my setup criteria is not met. And this is what you need to understand. It's all great if the move plays out, but would you realistically have size in the market on that position? Because if you're just getting into a market and then saying it went there and I got it right, I don't care about that. Because if it's not a trade that I can actually put size into on a real market, there's no way I'm doing that before major red news. We're going to talk about gold in the technical video. We'll talk about the yen pairs in the technical video. We're going to talk about a couple of the US index trades yesterday that some traders took in the technical video. So those are the types of things that come from experience, but also just common sense on the day. Before I even start and I see an instrument setting up, 2 questions I have. Number 1, is this a best candidate setup? Number 2, is it an ACB or a nail and bail? And that's as simple as that. If it's nail and bail, I predetermine my levels and I set them as soon as I'm in the trade. And then basically it's like it's a no-go zone to even interfere with that. Once it breaks a level, I'll go to break even, and literally just to plant some seeds, I leave the computer for a good 15 minutes at least. I'll go down and, do I was joking with Steven the other day, I do my ab wheel for a while. Because there's nothing I can do now except screw the trade up. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I've already gone to break even with a little buffer in case it spikes or there's slippage or something like that. There's no major red news. Okay? And it's almost a given that when gold goes, like in Asia, for example, when it's going to rifle, that's the monkey hammer. It's just going to rip. It's going to rip. And then it can bounce. That's why I take profits. So it just takes me out as it's blowing through a level. I don't want to mess around. And I have no illusions that I need to hold on to this and hope that it keeps going. And even if it comes back and it goes down later, I'm taking the money. I want it to take me out as it's going vertical, whether it's in the long direction or the short direction. That's my job. Get paid on the trade. If it's level to level, I'm locking it in and I'm getting off the screen. Come back later, another session, a whole new perspective. Which instrument is offering me the best setup on the day? I have no attachment to anything. It just so happened that gold fulfilled the criteria of breaking down in London and pumping back up. We're going to go over a specific template that is identical to today's gold template from a few months ago. It's the exact same template. Don't ever mention the word thinking. Don't ever mention the word thinking. Thinking is not allowed. Rinse and repeat setups. Don't think. What's your setup? If you don't know what your setup is, that means you're still looking at reading markets and drawing lines and counting pushes and verticals and horizontals and diagonals, and it could do this, it could do that. I can't really tell. Markets set up or they don't. There's three main signals that I look for. We talk about them over and over again. They're pretty simple. But lo and behold, whether or not it sets up on the day is another story. So just be patient. There's no anxiety to get into the market. There's no reason to feel tense or stressed. It's either setting up and it's, okay, this is perfect. Now I just got to allow it to coil into the open, regardless if I'm in Asia, London, or New York. If it's an index, let it set up, front side, back side. There's no rush. And I love Stephen when he says, he goes, I'm willing to forego large range days if it's not my setup. That reinforces to me, rinse and repeat, because he goes there at the same time looking for one setup over and over and over again. And once you see that and understand that, you won't worry about going, well, I thought it was this and I thought it was that. I was going to short it. I got stopped out. I got in too early. Then I got back in and made it up later. What is the setup that you're trading? The actual setup. See, setups are designed to explode. If you're focused on the parabolic setups, as we saw in Asia today, as we saw in gold, when they go boom. They go vertical. That's the whole idea. Aligning yourself, letting the market set up, paying attention to the time. There's my signal to get in. Am I scaling in, or am I just going to put a few positions in, take some money off, allow a trailer to continue, or am I loading in, going to break even and holding till close? Entry, stop loss, and a take profit level. Remove the thinking out of the game. Start hunting the same setups over and over again where it's easy to make a lot of money. And then don't do any self-sabotaging, degenerate gambling, random, impulsive, impatient, junky trading that destroys the good results that you do get and damages your psychological capital. And it's as simple as that. And it's a daily battle for every single trader. So don't ever think that you get past that. You have to replace it with other habits that are empowering you, other behaviors that are empowering you, focusing your attention only on rinse and repeat, where you cannot screw it up and you almost can't lose on the trade unless you are doing other degenerate behaviors that can affect the outcome of that trade. It's as simple as that. Keep it simple, scale it up in size, rinse and repeat, ignore everything else, ignore everybody else. Get really super focused on setups that make you money and don't do anything else. Enjoy your Good Friday. Have a great day, traders. We'll have a technical video addressing any questions that get put into that post today, tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be done in the morning, but I will answer all of those in detail. And remember, keep it simple. Have a great day. Love you and appreciate you. May the markets go with you.